Hi everyone, I'm Crow77 and today we're going to take a look at another Paifu. So this one is a friend of mine in real life that I've done a little bit of coaching for, and he has just started in the ARML, that's the American Reach Mahjong League. So one of the big things about this league is that it's an Akanashi game, so that is there are no red fives. So that can really put a lot more emphasis on hand building and really good push-fold judgment. So since this player is just getting into the ARML, they are coming in at the bottom league. Now the bottom league is a little bit of a weird place right now, because two of the the American pros playing in Japan have joined the league as well. So there's those two really high skill players, as well as a couple other very high skills Americans that came in this time. So one thing that's important is to recognize the difference between different skill level players. So I kind of broke it down here, and this is a horrible generalization. So obviously I use this a little bit to kind of know what to expect. I'm not necessarily saying change your play style or anything like that, but just be aware these are some common tendencies that you might see for players that are in lower brackets or higher brackets or ranks. So first of all, lower bracket players tend to have more polarized hand values. Since the hand building understanding isn't quite there, if they have something that they can call for, if it's a wind or a dragon or something quick, a lot of times you'll see a lot of 1,000-point hands, 2,000-point hands. But the opposite is also true. One thing I've seen a lot of is a player gets a Pawn of the Dora, and then they continue on. Instead of going for a Tanyao or something like that, they push for that Toy. So instead of taking a nice easy Mangan, they're pushing that up to a Haneman and potentially even farther. So it's definitely something to watch out for. It's usually pretty easy to read if it's going to be low value or high value though. As opposed to that, higher bracket players, they're more likely to call and take, maybe Tanyao 2 Dora or Sanshoku 2 Dora. Especially those 2 Dora hands, I feel that high bracket players play much differently compared to the lower bracket players. Next up is that lower bracket players are more likely to push hands into you. Overall, that's just because they have less experience with defense and less understanding of it. Obviously, higher bracket players have a lot more of that. They have a good understanding of when to defend, when to push, when to fold, and then on top of that, they can mawashi a bit better too. That is, trying to play around your hand and not deal in, but still work on building their hand. So definitely something to watch out for. Lower bracket players also make their hands very easy to read a lot of times. So it's kind of hard to say, if it's just the lack of understanding of Yaku, or just being able to see the obvious Yaku that makes it very obvious when it gets called. But higher bracket players are more likely to be able to set traps, like, for example, call for something that looks like a Tanyao in all simples, but then end up waiting on a terminal, since they have a Sanshoku or something like that instead. And lastly, one of the big things that you'll see time and time again is lower bracket players tend to play a little bit less efficiently. Higher bracket players obviously have that very high level efficiency, even though in Akanashi sometimes it doesn't quite come through. Sometimes you're focusing more on that hand building than that high level efficiency, so the higher level players will be trying to build these big hands and worry about that sort of thing instead of just the perfect efficiency. Alright, and let's go ahead and get started. So we are starting as the North player here. And first discard already looks just a little bit weird. So here, if you look at the structure of your hand, you've got 2 pairs already. And this 9 is really only good for extending the 6, 7, 8, 9 into a pair. So this 9 doesn't really do anything for you, but keeping the 8 around could end up at the 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. So I'd probably hold on to that 8 for now. Drop the 9 here. And that feels like it's committing a little bit early. Again, probably still dropping the 9 here, but East is also a fine discard here as well.
Oh.
Got a call across the way, drops East after seeing an East, that's fine. But what's kind of happening here is discarding this 1 could get in the way of the Itsu. You would be 2 away from it otherwise. But now we're going to drop the 9. Yeah, a little bit late. I think this probably should have been the first thing to come out, and then you'd be well on your way to that 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 2's not bad. probably still hold on to that. You're kind of committing to these threes being your pair when it's not really necessary to. So you could potentially, again, end up with a 2-3-4 Sanshoku. So I like holding the 2 and discarding the 6, probably. Okay. So that's a weird one. Might be worrying about the player across being on a possible half flush here. But still, I think I like keeping the little bit more efficient hand here, especially since you're on your way to Paifu, Tanyao, that sort of thing. Yep, White Dragon's fine. With that 6 call, you have to worry a little bit about the Tenpai here. That's 2 calls. The 4 coming out's a little bit odd. Oh, not really. So it came out from a 4-4-5 here. So it doesn't really give us too much more information than that, but the 6 should be safe at that point. Because the 3's next to the door, I like holding on to the 3 a little bit longer. So that's why I'd probably be dropping the 6 here. And then we would have immediately connected it and gotten rewarded. This is fine. It's a little bit risky-ish because the player on our left is calling very aggressively. So they might just be calling to call for a Tanyao. They might actually have something. And they are actually going to roam it too. Oh, that's the worst case scenario. Yes, when you see someone calling aggressively like that with a simple Dora, in Akanashi you especially don't want to be discarding that Dora if you're starting to be concerned that they might be in Tenpai. There's not a ton of indicators for that, but having 4 central tiles discarded when they are going for a Tanyao hand is kind of indicative of it. So I think at this point, like obviously I said keeping the 3 to keep tiles around the Dora, then you could have built into the Dora. I'm not quite sure what you do from there though. Maybe 3-pin, 3-pin? Kind of hard to say because the 3-pin probably wouldn't deal into anything there. Okay. Yeah, so a few strange discards there. Definitely eschewing the possibility of a Sanshoku right away. Yeah, so a couple things that need to be worked on for efficiency as well as hand building here. Let's go on to the next hand. Okay, so not too much with the starting hand. Again, the possible 2-3-4 Sanshoku. So yeah, discarding the Guest Wind here is fine. This is a hand I'd probably wait to call the West Wind on. I definitely wouldn't call the first one, I don't think. Opponent of the South Wind, East already discarded, so they're looking at Green Dragon, Red Dragon, or Pinzu half flush. Or possibly more than just that. See, I'm fine with dropping the early Pinzu tile. That's solidifying a block, that's not bad. Okay. Yeah, so they're pretty far advanced then, so seeing the pair drop there, chances are they're pretty close to that Honitsu or some kind of winning hand. It looks like they could be on the Green Dragon still. A little bit awkward. Maybe concerned about defense here, but I still like holding on to the 9, I think, because if you get the West Wind, then you need another pair still. Yeah, I'm probably discarding the floating 2 at this point. It's starting to get a little more dangerous since it's near the Dora. It just passed last turn, and then the Sumugiri came out. So yeah, I think I just cut the 2 in here. But a Reach is going to come out. So here we don't really have any value. I'm probably just folding here, I think. So the 9 so is fine for the first start. Okay, I like it. Yeah, so against this hand, we really can't discard this 2. Same with the 5. So we're probably going just 3 so. Yeah, I don't like that as much, because this player across from us we think is on half flush. We don't see any West Winds yet. It could be rolled by the player on our right even. Okay, it does pass though. Okay, it looks like the dealer is going to get a half flush off of someone else. Not bad. Yeah, definitely a little bit risky to discard that West Wind there, though. I'd definitely take the safer route and just go for the 3 there instead. Okay, pretty reasonable starting hand here. I think this is one where we can probably call the West Wind right when it comes out. We do need to speed up some of the bad shapes a little bit with the 8-9 there, and the 1 isn't great when attached to that 4 either. That's not bad. Okay, so we will pawn it. Yeah, I think I'm still fine with that. I would like the option of keeping this on Shoku. It's a little bit greedy probably, though. I think this is better. Okay, so here I think I like holding on. No, I think this is actually fine. Comparing like drawing a 3 to drawing the 5 mon, this gets you more weights for your pair. So I like this. Okay. So always have to watch the player on our right here. Discarding 3-so, so they have a shape near the 8-so, or they're just discarding for a half flush. That's not bad. Maybe drop 6-7 here? Yeah. And this is the right 6-7 to drop for the record, because this 6-7 could be... It's a little more likely to deal in with these central tiles going. Okay, so that feels bad because we don't have the 4 anymore. Not too much we could have done about that, though. I think the 6 is still fine here. We're hoping to pair up the 1-2 or 8-9. So our first cut is going to be the 9 if we have options to. Looks like the player on our right is just to a kind of quick hand, though, so it's really up to how many Dora they have. And I think we're at the point where we can start playing a little bit more defensively, because this hand isn't really worth much. I mean, 2,000 points isn't nothing, but when that makes our hand a lot harder here, too. Yeah, I like 9-pin here. Okay. 8-pin's a little bit rougher because we don't see any of them just yet, even though it's behind kind of the one shot here with having 3, the 7's out. Yeah, okay, it passes. Like I said, a little bit risky, but I think we're okay. 2 red dragons out, so that's a safe discard. I'm tempted to save it for a little bit later and discard the 1 now, the 1 pin, just from the defensive perspective. I don't want to be pushing into any of this. But yeah, I think I'd discard the 1 pin, but I'm guessing this player will probably drop the red dragon, yeah. And again, that's just saving tiles for when other people start looking more dangerous. And here I don't really want to discard the 7 anymore. I want to probably drop the 1 pin. That's dangerous, isn't it? Yeah, that can deal in all sorts of things. Oh no, I guess it's safe against the player we're really worried about, so... yeah, okay. That's fair. Okay, now 7 is completely safe. That's where you drop the 7 instead. So the discard that just came out to your left is always 100% safe against everyone at the table. Given that we could make it to 10 pi, or maybe even draw the last 3 pin, I think it's worth keeping around the 1 at the moment and just discarding the 7 for safety. Okay, and there's the 1. Not a huge hand or anything, but it does put us a little bit farther in 4th. This is a potentially pretty quick hand, though. Potentially 1 Dora attached to it. Again, I think with the value that we need to start coming back, I probably hold off on discarding the south winds. Or sorry, on calling the south winds. Okay, I like this. I like that a little bit less. I'd probably drop the 7 pin here. Don't really see a reason to hold on to that, but that one's at least attached over here. So drawing a 2 is still useful there. If the second south wind comes out, I think I would call it here. Oh, and we're punished too. So I don't like this switch up here because we've already discarded the 3. If we hold on to the 4, we're likely to end up Furitan, even if we draw something useful for it. So I probably hold on to the 2 in the case that we draw the, specifically the 3-so. Because if we do that, then we'll have good weight with the Dora, instead of only being able to wait on the 4 like it would be now. Okay, so 1 Dora to our right. And this could be a half flush here, so something else we'll need to watch out for. Oh, I don't like that, though. Maybe it's fine. I still like discarding the 4 pin here, though. That's a little bit dangerous, but it does pass. Yeah, still 1, or 1 mon here. Yeah, I'm definitely at the point where if the next south comes out, I'm calling it. Okay, this 4 mon looks pretty safe to discard right here, so I'd probably just go ahead and do it. The benefit of discarding the 4 is, you know, you keep her on the safer tile here, but instead goes ahead and discards that safer tile. Again, with the furry 10 chance, and I don't know, I don't like keeping this 4 right now. It's likely to get us into trouble later. I guess that's about the best draw we could get for that. And there is a call there. Okay, so here we can move it around into an Paifu. So we discard the 9. Oh, what? I don't like this discard at all. Like, it's not completely unreasonable that the player to our right has 2/3 mon. Because you see the early 5, that's really a weird discard. So one way that you discard it is if you have that 2/3 already. Yeah, I really don't like this discard. The way that I'm looking at it, if you discard the 9, you can still get the south, discard the 6, and be okay. Or if you draw the 7, you can discard the 8 and have the Paifu there, waiting on just the 5 mon. Yeah, I don't like that. Felt a little bit risky, but apparently the green dragon is what deals in. Okay. Okay, right off the bat again, I really don't like this 9 so discard. Connects as a 7/9 here, being able to draw the 8. Better is probably the 3 pin. It's pretty unlikely to make it into a Sanshoku or anything like that, or sorry, an Paifu. So I think the 3 is just the discard because of the overlap and acceptance with the 6. So again, just kind of an efficiency thing here. Well, and then we do get the Paifu chance anyway. Okay, a 6 pin's fine here. That's probably an inaccuracy. Well, so it depends on what you're going for here. If we really, really want to integrate the Dora, this is the right play. But if we're just going to try to slam a hand as soon as we can, it's probably the 6 here. It feels a little bit counterproductive, but it does set up the Suji trap for if we reach later. So I do kind of like it in this sort of competitive format where people are trying to push and using Suji and that sort of thing all the time. And we do get something good. So here we're discarding this 2. Yeah. No other real option. Okay, that's a nice reach. Yeah, nothing more to say about this hand. Oh wow. You definitely wouldn't expect. Oh, there they are. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but not much you can do there. It was the right reach. Now this is a good starting hand. We have the 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku going, have an easy 9 discard to start out. Okay. No, I still like the 9 a lot more first here. Benefit of discarding the 9 here, it has too much overlap and acceptance with the 6 there. So it doesn't really do much for us, and we really want to play for efficiency here. Whereas keeping the south wind, if we end up finding the other south, it can really help us out a lot. Same with the white dragon there. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Now that's a weird chi. So here we have to watch out for it a little bit. It looks like they're on a Chanta or Junchan or something like that. It could be just a Sanshoku, a 678, or sorry, a 789 Sanshoku. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this hand and kind of see where it's progressing to. That's fine. Oh no. Okay, I don't like that. I think at this point it's fine to give up on the Sanshoku or at least move it around a little bit. So we can pretty much confirm Tanyao here. Not quite confirm, but pretty close. If we discard the 1 mon, It's still possible the Pinzu evolves into that sort of shape if we don't reach right away when we hit Tenbai. So I think I probably would go ahead and discard the 1 mon, try to push for that Sanshoku, eventually discarding the 1 pin. Okay, we do get this here. So here's where we're likely to end up Furiten, potentially. That seems weird. Yeah, same reasons I don't like discarding this at all. I probably drop the 1 pin here, and that allows us to cut the 1 mon later for it. Yeah, I think discarding too many central tiles here gets us too far away from the value that we have. Because even if we get the Sanshoku, we're losing Paifu for it at this point. Okay, so what's the player on our right doing? It shouldn't be a Honitsu, but I guess it could be. So it's probably the Sanshoku though. So the 9s come out, the 8s come out, so they could be waiting on specifically a 7 pin. Across the way, it looks like just a quick hand, so 2,000 points if we deal in. Not the worst, so I probably discard the 5 here. Okay, so we can never discard this, I don't think. Alright, I'm good with this. Again, we do have to watch out for the Furiten if we draw the 8, because we have the 9 in our discards. Oh, I really don't like this. Gotta take that Tanyao chance here. The Tanyao is just so much more likely than Sanshoku, and even if we do draw tiles for the Sanshoku, say we discard the 1 and we draw the 2, we can just discard the 1, confirm the Sanshoku, and wait on the 6 pin. There's only 2 of them left, sure, but that's a Tanyao Sanshoku door at that point. It's a 2-tile out Mangan Dama. Seems fine to me. Yeah, so I really don't like this 4 discard. But the 3 is going to deal in first. Okay. Not too much to say there then. Okay, and this is just a kind of a weird consistency thing. So in previous situations, this player would have discarded one of the dragons, especially with the 1-cut white dragon. So I'm not sure what's making them make this different decision. But one thing you do want to try just in your general Mahjong games is to try to get consistency of play. Make the same decisions in different situations that seem very, very close together. That way you can get a better idea for what's working, what's not, and what you need to change instead of kind of being all over the place. Although for early decisions like this, it's not the biggest difference by any means. Yeah, then even just within the same hand, it feels more consistent to discard the 9-so. And again, there's not too much to say about one being right or not. But okay, that's good. That's a pair. So we have a chance of the Sanshoku here if we discard 1-1-2, but it's unlikely. So here we probably just go ahead and discard the 6-8 and go for that Sanshoku instead. Yeah, 1-2-3 Sanshoku, discarding the 6-8, so. Kind of committing hard here for it. It's not the worst by any means, but I think we still just cut the 6-8. No, and that's just losing the Sanshoku chance here. I'm not sure what that discard's about. Yeah, that one doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so it looks like he might have just tunnel visioned on getting rid of the Penjon there, the 1-2. Okay. What can we discard here? The 5 Mon looks reasonably safe on this board. I kind of wish we would have discarded a little bit sooner, because the red dragon coming out from the player to our left makes me think they're Tenpai. It's kind of a weird late red dragon that sometimes people hold on to for safety. So I ideally, I don't really want to discard something that they can win off of. So the 5 isn't necessarily the best for that, but it is half Suji at least still. Yeah, I think I'd go with the 5 mon here. I don't understand that. There's still 4 tiles out that can win off of. Or sorry, complete this shape. I don't like that 2 discard at all. Another chance, but goes ahead and discards it still. Here the 7 pin is completely safe for us, but I imagine we're probably going to keep pushing. I don't like pushing the 3 pin here. It looks really bad to the player to our left. Okay. This game might give me a heart attack. Okay, so we have the 5 mon for 10 pi here. I think we'd take it still, but I wouldn't fault someone for discarding the 7 pin for safety.
Riichi.
Ooh, I don't like reaching though. Probably hold off on the reach just because we don't really have any value. 1/7's used. It seems like it's likely the 5 pins are used up. Maybe? Yeah, I don't like this reach though.
Home.
I don't expect to see a 5 pin come out, but that Nakasuji trap coming out might do it. Yeah, we really just don't have any value. Like, even here, just switching to Tanya would have been good. And it gets the win on the left anyway. Yeah, I think a couple mistakes there, to say the least, in that hand. Okay, let's go next. So we're in South 3 now. We're really getting to that crunch time where we can't really afford to lose any hands. So even though we don't want to lose or deal in here, we still need to build this hand for value. With the ARML format, the biggest thing is getting above 30,000 points, and we're a little bit over Mahjong away from that. So here, looking at this hand, I think the easiest way to do that is going to be a half flush, but I don't necessarily want to commit to it right away. So instead, I'm probably discarding the East Wind and kind of hedging a little bit. We'll see what we draw into.
Home.
That seems like an early call to me. I think, again, for building value, you want to hold on to the Yakuai pair and make that decision later on if it gets discarded again. Which it looks like it might have happened right away. The problem is if we build this and we build for the Itsu, the full straight, right now, it doesn't really get us anywhere, so we have to build this for the whole Nitsu, the half flush instead. So we discard the 9 mon here. And the 4 mon. Ooh, I don't like that. So I want to keep the whole Nitsu options open. So I definitely like 4 mon here instead.
Chi.
Okay, that's fine.
Riichi.
That's tough. 3's safe. Oh no. Yeah, 3 is completely safe. Don't discard a double unsafe tile like that. And if we had held the white dragon, we'd have a pair right now. Okay, 3's completely safe. Okay. Yeah, discard the 3, so here probably just for safety. We're pretty much dead if we deal in. So we have to hedge at least a little bit against it. And this is a little bit awkward, but it's a one-shot, so I'd probably just go ahead and take the 8-pin discard here. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's still fine to do there. Wow. Yeah, I think on that discard specifically there wasn't much you could do, but based on what I was saying, there's a lot I would have changed about leading up to that point in the hand. Okay, so now we're in a big hole, but we are the dealer, and this is a pretty good hand. We have chances for the Sanshogu, 7, 8, 9. We have chances for the Itsu and Pinsu. We have a couple extra easy discards, so to speak, so just dropping the North Wind here is fine. That's fine too. Okay, I like dropping this time. I mentioned this 9 doesn't necessarily do much for you, but at least in this case it does give you the chance at that Sanshoku if you draw the 8. Okay, so we give it up here. Yep, I like it. That doesn't really do anything for us. I go ahead and drop it. Yeah. That's the 1 backfire there. So better here is the 1 pin. Because the problem is this is taking you back a shanten. So if you draw like a 6 or a 7 to pair it, you can't even reach anymore. And I think we do probably reach this pretty aggressively if we get the chance to. Yeah, that just feels so bad. Ugh. I'm probably waiting for a better weight here. We have anything that connects to the 1. We can pair up the ends of any of our straights. Yeah, I think it was a little bit preemptive there. So even, yeah, just that 2 right there. That weight's on 2, 3 instead. That's much better. I don't know why I'm looking so intently. Okay, so we did end up getting the win, so that was lucky. Yeah, not much we could have done, obviously, once we reach, but I think the situation of getting into that should have been completely different there. And I understand it might have had a different outcome. You know, we haven't seen a 2 or a 3 just yet, but I think it still just makes sense to try to go for a better weight than the Tonki there. Alright. Yeah, not too much in this hand that's great. You could go for the Junjon, and I think we probably hedge against it. So I think discarding the green dragon is fine here, because I don't really want the Chanta anyway. Yeah. And for that reason I like holding on to this 9, I think. I think discarding the 2 is fine here. Seven pairs maybe, so that's the 4th pair. And that gets a little bit awkward though. So normally there, if you had the 9 in hand, you wouldn't have this 4 anymore, and you have some options to move this around into that Junchan I mentioned. But it looks like that can't really happen from here. That 9 discard though, why? You're moving yourself away from the Chitoitsu, you end up with Furiten Ryanmen. I really don't like that. I think we're still fine just discarding the 4 pin here. If anything, if not the 8 pin. Yeah, this isn't going well. Okay, so keeping the 4 is good here, just in order to play a little bit safer. At this point, I think I'm looking towards minimizing losses and trying to avoid dealing in. So at that point, I think even better is probably just the 9 cell. Just go ahead and cut it here. Yeah. So that would give us a chance back at the Chitoitsu. We'd be 1 Shanten now, assuming that we didn't hold the West Wind or the Red Dragon. Okay. Alright. Yeah, not much we could have done at the very end there, but I would have liked to see this hand go a different direction, try to build for a little bit more value and play a little bit more efficiently here. So unfortunately, it looks like we dropped down to 16.7. Yeah. So that's about all I got for you guys. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time.